So I wanted to do a video to kind of explain what's going on with me. Some people know bits and pieces. You know, it's been going on for so long, it's so easy to kind of forget or not remember. At least that's how I am. So I just wanted to kind of give it all in one space. So I'm sorry if it's lengthy. I'm going to keep it as short as possible. 3+ years ago, I started feeling really crummy, went to my primary care and said something's not right. And she sent me to an endocrinologist and a cardiologist, assuming that it would be endocrine based. Went to the endocrinologist. They said, nope, everything looks good. You have Hashimoto's clinically, which just means I have an enlarged thyroid and I have nodules on my thyroid, and I had all the symptoms, but my blood work was fine. So we're not going to treat that. Okay. Going to cardiology at the same time, expect it not to be cardiology. I suddenly have high blood pressure. My left ventricle was a little enlarged. They, decided to do a monitor and just do some testing. In the end, what ended up happening was I had atrial flutter, and my heart rate when I had the monitor on had been above 200 for the whole month. And it was like my body was running a marathon all the time, even though I wasn't. So when I would exercise, I just didn't feel good. So I have an ablation within a month of finding that out. And I did feel better after. And I felt better and tried to get back to normal. Didn't feel normal, but felt better, thinking I would slowly get back to my norm. And I would try to start running and try to exercise. And every time I would try to increase and do more, it was so challenging. It would be like, I would describe it as I would literally run a mile and feel like for the rest of the day, like I ran a marathon, just complete exhaustion for the whole day. So for the whole year, I would kind of use that verbiage, or for the whole, not year, but from that time, I would use that verbiage. So I was doing so much to try to get better. I saw 2 different functional medicine doctors. I mean, the list goes on, and maybe at some point I'll share all of that. But a lot of holistic stuff, a lot of natural stuff, a lot of mind-body connection stuff, just tons and tons of stuff from doctors, from energy workers, like I said, from my own work as a life coach and Reiki practitioner, just a lot of stuff. And reading everything I could, trying to learn. And I just still kept feeling crummy, kept feeling worse. So then my endocrinologist did more work, my local endocrinologist, and some stuff started coming up weird, and he referred me to the Jocelyn Center. So now that was like a year ago last fall, so like a year ago in the fall. They made an appointment for me in February that was over break, and I had to reschedule, and I never got in till this past August. So that whole year would be like, okay, I'm doing okay. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try this. I intermittent fasted for 2 years. So my sugars were climbing during all this. And then I was intermittent fasting for the 2 years. So that kind of helped my sugars. Long story short, I go to the Jocelyn Center, and they say to me, they've tested you for everything for your thyroid, but Cushing syndrome. Now, amidst my cardiac stuff after my ablation, because I was still symptomatic, they did a scan to make sure there was nothing else going on. And during that scan, they found a lesion on my left adrenal gland. But this is really common. A lot of people have lesions and they aren't an issue. So I was told really not to worry about. But my endocrinologist did some more tests. Got some funky stuff, but he wasn't really sure what to do with it. Sent me to Jocelyn Center. Now fast forward another year, and I go in August, and she says to me, you've really been worked up for everything except Cushing syndrome or Cushing's disease, and you don't have it. You look too good, even though to you feel like, you don't, and you don't feel well. You would be in the hospital by now. You don't have it. But I'm going to test. I'm going to do everything. I also at the same time do a 5-day fasting mimicking diet. So I did eat some things, but so excited. This is going to make me feel better. I'm going to do this 5-day fast. I'm going to feel great. Literally did that, felt awful, like I couldn't even function, could barely get out of bed. Within the next 2 weeks of that, I start getting these positive tests back. So I start getting these positive tests back, but it is really hard to diagnose Cushing's. There's a lot of false positives. I'm on supplements, and doctors just always worry about that, and a lot of doctors, or Western doctors, worry about that and how they're affecting tests, and because it's a serious diagnosis. They kept retesting. So she finally confirms over months in December, yes, I think this is Cushing's. I'm going to refer you to the surgeon here. But I had had some communication things, and I just decided, I had done some research at that point, that I wanted to go to Boston because it's not super common. And just when you look up on the Epic Foundation and different things, Boston's really one of the better places to go. There's different places in the country, and I decided to go there. So I go see an endocrinologist at Mass General December 31st, and he spent 2 hours with me, literally combing through my book. I have a book with literally everything in it. And he found all these other positive tests that I didn't even know I had that indicated Cushing's as well. Kind of went into the appointment as a detective saying, you don't have this. This is a big deal. You know, we want to really be thorough in our assessment. And by the end of the appointment, he said, you do have this, and I'm going to refer you to the surgeon. So that's where I'm at. I see the surgeon this Friday, and then hopefully we'll have a date from there. It has been a roller coaster of not knowing, and then even once I started figuring out what it was, there are 3 different ways you can have Cushing's. Cushing disease means you have a tumor in your pituitary gland that makes you produce too much ACTH, which is a hormone, and then makes your adrenal glands produce too much cortisol. This is the most common. According to Mass General, that's 70% of cases. 10% of cases, there's an ectopic kind of, I don't know if it's called a tumor or whatever, ectopic space that causes you to create ACTH and then increase your ACTH and then increase your cortisol. And then the third scenario, which is 20%, which is what I have, is called Cushing syndrome. And this means that I have a lesion on one of my adrenals, a nodule, tumor, whatever words you want to use. They all mean the same thing. And it is causing my left adrenal gland to produce too much cortisol, which in turn is causing my brain, my pituitary gland, to not produce enough ACTH, and my right adrenal to have shut down and no longer produces cortisol or minimal cortisol as well. So what they'll do is they'll remove my left adrenal gland, and slowly my brain will wake up and start producing ACTH. And then slowly my right adrenal gland will wake up and start producing cortisol. This process takes 1 to 3 years though. And in the meantime, you can feel pretty crummy. You're supplemented with steroids, and it's just, you don't really feel great. They told me to plan on feeling worse for 3 to 4 months, recovering 1 to 3 years. And, you know, it's serious. You need cortisol to live. So you have to make sure you have enough cortisol. So if you get sick or anything like that, you need to supplement with more cortisol. So it's kind of like a game until you figure it out. So recovery, you know, is going to be a little challenging, but I'm going to beat those odds. I'm super optimistic that all the stuff I've been doing, I'm going to keep doing, and I'm going to add stuff in, and I'm hopeful that I feel better a lot quicker than that. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions and not easy. I feel like I've stepped out of so much. From the outside looking in, I know it doesn't seem that way, but I say no a lot. I haven't done things that I wanted to do. I feel like my kids, you know, have had to sacrifice, and that's all fine. This is part of their journey, just like it's part of my journey. But, you know, it's been really challenging, and I know it's going to be challenging for a little while longer. So it's been tough, but I'm also happy to have an answer. Some people, it was so hard to get diagnosed of this, and if I didn't keep all my information together, I really don't think I would have. So I'm just really grateful that I got it. I'm grateful that it's Sydrome, and that hopefully I can be cured of this and feel really good. I'm grateful to have answers, and I'm grateful that I have the means to go to Boston and get you know, the best surgeon and the best doctors. So and I'm grateful for my amazing support system, and you know, amazing team at work that just do such a great job. So I have so much to be grateful for. So, all right, that was lengthy. I'm sorry. All right, talk to you soon.